If your dream car is an R35 GTR, then the internet will accuse you of being a 12-year-old fanboy with zero imagination. But screw what the haters say, because after thousands of miles of driving this very car, aka Bronzilla, I get why you love it so much. It's a tuner's best friend that's able to take massive power, various upgrades and flame-spitting exhausts in its stride. It also has an insatiable thirst to embarrass the automotive world's elite, including its younger sibling, and can be bought second-hand for around £40,000 with a jaw-dropping 660 horsepower under its belt. For many, me included, £40,000 is way out of reach. What's more, insurance and running costs can be downright crippling. So what do you do if you can't afford £40,000 for a 660 brake horsepower Nissan GTR like this? Well, you buy the awesome and affordable 350Z instead. The skies are crying and we have rear-wheel drive and about 313 brake horsepower, this being the later model. The earlier models came with about 286. So conditions for this car, not ideal. So what have we got? We've got a 6-speed manual gearbox, nice and notchy, and the throw itself is pretty short, so you wouldn't need a short shifter on this. And in terms of modifications, not a lot has been done to this car. You can probably hear it's very muted when you boot the throttle. There is no nice stainless exhaust on here, everything is standard. But one mod that owner Seb has made, which is awesome, is a light and flywheel. And that means that this car is stupidly fast. I mean, my M3's got around 300 horsepower, this has got around 300 horsepower, but this feels a lot quicker. The pickup is amazing, the torque's always there, and it really loves to rev. As for the steering, nice quick steering rack, so little movements turn the car from left to right pretty quickly, and it also really likes to drink fuel. So I've been driving this for about an hour and a half and I've already got through a quarter of a tank. I don't have a gauge telling me what the MPG is, but I'm guessing it's going to be around 2021 MPG. This thing weighs about 1,600 kilograms or about 3,500 pounds in American weight terms. So it's not light, and you kind of do feel the weight when you're plodding along at low speeds. I do like the seats as well. They're electric. Check this out. Yeah. So I could drive like one of those rude boys if I wanted to. But I am not rude, nor am I a boy. I'm a man in my 350Z. And the great thing about the 350Z is that you can pick up an 04 version for about £4,500, which is amazing because you're getting nearly 300 horsepower, rear-wheel drive, a 3.5 litre V6, loads of torque, and with a few subtle modifications like this, a light and flywheel would be amazing. And if you could dump a racing clutch in as well, that would be cool. Exhaust. So if you spend around £2,500 to £3,000, then your car is going to sound incredible. I think the 350Z looks really good as well. I know a lot of you guys probably won't like it, but to my eyes, it looks really squat, really purposeful. I just love the torque. Literally any gear. I'm doing 40 miles an hour, 4th gear. Let's put it in 5th. And it's still cruising along really happily. So the guy who owns this exact car is a guy called Seb, and he's only 20 years old. He's at university in Kingston. So a lot of you are probably thinking that Daddy bought him his car, but Daddy did not. Seb took a year out, worked his ass off, and then bought this car outright, and he's modifying it with his own money as well. And insurance isn't too bad. I think he's paying about £1,500 to be insured at university in Kingston, which is just outside London. So that took me by surprise because I thought a 20-year-old would never, ever, ever be able to afford a car like this. But yeah, he's completely proven me wrong. So fair play to you, Seb. And yeah, the interior plastics, all quite tacky and not really well put together. But the 350Z is all about the driving experience. You've got a whacking great big engine. You've got over 300 horsepower, rear-wheel drive and LSD. So it's a really raw, visceral car. It's one of those cars that if you want to mess around with it, say do some roundabout drifting or so, then you need to have some practice under your belt. You can't get into a car like this and expect to go sideways and not crash. There's a lot of power going through the rear wheels, so be careful. And I think it is a great alternative to a GTR. It's kind of got the same ethos. I feel like this is a scaled down version of a GTR, which effectively it is. We've got a 3.5 litre V6 NA. The GTR's got a 3.8 litre V6 with twin turbos. And the transmission noise as well, the kind of lash you get sometimes, that kind of, it's not like a braking noise, but it's very reminiscent to that of the GTR. And when you put your foot down, if you close your eyes, not when you're driving obviously, you do hear GTR. Let's have a little go. That sounds like a GTR with no turbo spool. You've got all the creature comforts. I've even got a tape deck here, which is amazing. You got CD player behind me. Oh yeah, you don't have rear seats in a 350Z, which is going to take a lot of you by surprise, because you look at it and you think you can fit probably 2 children in the back or 2 adults with no legs. But you do have cool cubby holes there, and you've got big subs as well if you like your drum and bass. Visibility out the back's pretty bad, but out the front is pretty good. The A-pillars are quite narrow. I really like the 350Z, and if I had around £5,000 burning a hole in my pocket, and if I wanted a cool alternative to a GTR, then this would be it. And hey, if you strap a couple of turbos on it, then you'll be able to keep up with a GTR. And it's not one of those cars that you see very often, so it's quite a unicorn car. I can't remember the last time I saw a 350Z, which is a shame because they really are cool. And I reckon they make really decent dailies. So my overall impression of the Nissan 350Z is I think it is a lot of car for the money. There's not a lot out there that's going to be able to keep up with this. And the build quality, I'm sure I've bitched about the plastics, but the car itself feels really well screwed together. It feels solid, and I know that if I'd have a big crash in it, I'd probably be able to walk out. Traction control really works as well. I like that. That has been my saviour today. It's a great affordable alternative to the Nissan GTR, that's for sure. What more can you want? So what's the EK9 Civic Type R like to drive? Well, let me start with this.